win. And whether you get, and 100% placement where? Students offered the top 5 elite organizations and they are willing to go there. The learnings are in a mid-size product company. Are we willing to go there to a mid-size product company where you will be in charge of a project or you will be a key part of a large project which you will be handling, and the learnings will be much more than the pay, of course. The pay in large companies are great, but you are a small fry in a big ocean. Why you want to do that? And ultimately, after 1 year, I have seen many, after 1 or 2 years, they resign from the big fives and join a company which is so exciting for them. So as I was talking about, transaction could be good in the beginning, but the fulfillment will be very small. And therefore, the myth of I am attracting the best of the companies to the campus for the recruitment is great. There is a cradle chase happening. Day 0, day -1, day -2. I don't know what and where it's going to end. It will only end, it is in your hand.
Thank you.
To make it more successful, empower your institute by doing something very amazing and giving them the confidence that if you don't hire me, you lose me. It's not that I'm going to lose you. Thank you.
Thank you. Great inspiration. The advisory council will certainly look at from that perspective now. I think I'll take one more question with Mr. Paliwal and with Ajit. By then I expect that the questions from students should be ready, or they will be asking the questions. Acha, they will be asking from there. Okay, fine. Get prepared. We'll have 15 minutes for you too. Let me tell you. Mr. Paliwal, you have been at the helm driving financial inclusion. I was at the helm driving financial inclusion in my banks or maybe in the industry. And I very strongly feel that there is a great opportunity lying in a great excluded community in the country to be mainstream through particularly the digital inclusion. And when we talk of inclusive growth, I think the children should look at opportunity in those areas. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Well, technology we have been talking and will continue to talk because that's the one which is going to remain the driving force. Now what shape it is going to take and what it is going to be from 10 years from now, I think is anyone's guess. We are saying that okay, the next thing could be that the voice recognition would be the changing factor. Beyond that, fuzzy logic is already there. The next leap could be that what you are thinking, and if the machines could be able to decipher based on a logic that okay, 70% of the times this is what your thought process is, then I think the human mind would be freed further to think at a faster capacity, because ultimately the machines are being created again by individuals. So I am a firm believer in that ultimately the financial inclusion, part of it where in a country like ours, we have say bank accounts opened in every household, 22 crore bank accounts opened in a span of say close to less than 2 years. If we take the 10-year period, 45 crore accounts opened. Post demonetization, the push towards the digital economy, yes, very fast. Challenge would be to keep it sustaining. And once the people see the advantage of it, I feel, then nothing can stop it from happening. One factor as an anecdote I like to share with all of us, which we are all aware, regardless of what type of a bike you would be buying, what type of a car you ride, how much amount it costs, but at the end of it we always ask how much is the average the vehicle is giving you. Now that sets the mindset for the move towards the digital economy from cash, for innovation. The moment we see something happening and working for us, you don't require any push. It comes automatically. But the moment you don't see anything working for you, then the enabling environment will have to be one which will make that what is there for me in it, and then automatically all of us will be into the digital part of it. So I feel that the events in the last 2 to 3 months, as well as it's a continuous process. The move towards the digital economy, the push has come. Now for us, all of us will have to make it sustainable. The informal sector, with the changes happening, have been also brought about to a very great extent, and the sustainability of it is the challenge which we are very sure that if we see the benefit happening is going to stay and will change the way we are looking at technology today might look obsolete the way it is changing in a span of maybe the way we change our phones. With the exception of some of us and maybe in the first row, I think the moment you buy a smartphone, the next thing is that you see someone next holding it in the next 3 days, you feel that as if you have bought an obsolete one, not an old model. Now that's the way the thought process changes, and that's the way we possibly with the startups, our mindset has also to change, because what we are going to serve and the inclusion is going to happen is what you would be able to provide to the world, and then the sky, possibly even the sky may not be the limit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last question to Ajit. Ajit, how the startups can really look for raising capital from the crowdfunding or peer-to-peer lending kind of an opportunity? So we spoke a lot about networking, and I think it's pretty relevant there. So if you can throw some light on these two aspects.
Sure. I think one of the things that has happened and very relevant to talk about at least P2P lending. It is enabled by technology, really speaking. What we have seen now happening is really a network of people reaching out to each other with the benefit of technology to make sure that you don't really need to go to institutes for money. You can always say that in a social environment or in an environment where you are reaching out to lots of people, you can always say that people will contribute in a very retail fashion for your cause. I think it's important to come back to one simple sort of philosophy that if your idea is good, if your execution is flawless, there will be newer and newer mechanism like P2P which will give you the money. Yeah, I think a lot of effort has been done by the regulator to allow equity as well as participation by credit in terms of P2P, and we are seeing a lot of growth in that because it just distributes the risk to a number of people where people can come in and take small amount of risk. It's just like investing in a public company, which I am taking to a startup level and saying that small amounts of money can be risked at early days of the company. So we as capital market guys really like that concept because all we are saying is we are doing an IPO of a small company and people are willing to participate in that IPO.
Thank you. I've got very good 4 or 5 questions from the students. The first question probably is addressed to me if, from Venkat. Am I right? Who is Venkat? Can the person, fine. I am really excited to see your question and would love to answer it. The question is, can agriculture in India be revived due to startup as it can develop the country multifold? I totally agree with you, and as a banker and having worked in the rural areas as well as overseeing the operations of the bank in the rural areas, the basic thing which is missing in our rural economy or the agriculture area is unfortunately our land holding is absolutely disaggregated, and the average land holding is hardly about 2 acres per individual. We are an agrarian economy. The contribution of the agriculture to the economy is just 18% of the GDP. Then how can we really take it forward? And this issue I have in fact taken up at 2-3 forums. Probably I have not been able to crack it properly. If you really read the book called Jugaad, there is a book called Jugaad in which there is a chapter on one of the Brazilian entrepreneurs who, like Uber and Ola, has just done the aggregation of the land holding. If you are from a village and if in your own village, if you can aggregate the 100 guys who will come together, you will have a land piece of 200 acres. And you can do a wonder because agriculture is nothing but the economy of scale. I've been visiting Africa, and let me tell you, I've seen the farms of 300 and 500 acres. I've seen a sprinkler with the arm of 1 kilometer. You can just imagine a sprinkler with the arm of 1 kilometer moving in a radius pi r square. Just think of the farm. And thus in agriculture, I think the land aggregation is one area where you can really look for. Well, there can be, the moment you have got a land mass of a size, you can do many experiments around that. I saw an instrument, or rather a tractor, which tells you in a piece of 100 by 100 what kind of a sowing you should be doing, what kind of a fertilizer you should be giving, and what kind of output you will get. I think all these developments which are there in the developed countries can come to the India if at all we can look for a land aggregation. We don't have a total irrigated land. Our dependence on the rain god is so much. So I think the initiatives like Nana Patekar, he has taken small buds and all. I mean, many of you can think of it. Nothing wrong, let me tell you. I mean, I always give an example, I had given it here, I think this all. The Hindustan Levers recruits the management trainee, and for initial period they are all deployed in the rural areas to own a bicycle. And thus, if a couple of you can really take that challenge, I feel there is a huge opportunity to really work towards an agriculture on this fashion. Please.
Very important question. Let me give you again from capital market or from our perspective. Agriculture is probably one of the most ignored sectors as far as business is concerned, and I think it poses huge opportunity. Simple statistics: I used to pay 3 rupees per minute to call USA in 1990s. Today, in today's term, I pay 6 rupees for a minute from my cell phone and anywhere in the world, or probably lower. The only thing that has happened is telecom rates have gone down because of corporatization, because of industry coming in, because of lot of research. I used to pay probably like 5 rupees for a dozen of bananas at that time. I pay 40 rupees for a dozen of bananas today. That's a sector which is crying for innovation. That's a sector which is crying for corporatization. That's a sector which is crying for new businesses to come in and make sure that consumers are happy with the produce.
Thank you. I would like to contribute something, because as a Reserve Bank,
well, one part could be the weather stations. If you look at in case of any natural calamity happening, and with agriculture being dependent to a very large extent from the sowing till the end, instead of as Mr. Tangsale very rightly said, was that now you can have down to with the satellite imaging and all, that what is the likelihood, what is the time period for sowing, what is the type of the soil which is there, what's the type of the fertilizer which you require, what's the time for linking it to the credit needs which the banks will do. And then the final and the most important aspect, which Mr. Deshmukh was also referring to, is the final link and the elimination of the middleman, and where you can be a direct seller with technology. Now you don't have to be say it is neutral, where you are sitting and where you can find a seller and a buyer. So they have to be connected. You don't have to go to even a mandi. You can create a mandi just next door or even 10 kilometers away, and the aggregation of the things can bring about the economies of scale. So I feel there is an immense potential. There are challenges which the regulators will have to work in, the government will have to work in, possibly for the e-governance, the way the land titles and the crop sharers and all will have to have the titles in their name, and the banks will have to look at. But I think these are the things which are not unsurmountable. They are surmountable so long as we have the will to do it.
Thank you. I think a very good question. I must compliment you. Rajiv, there is a question for you from Shailesh Singh. Keeping in mind India's technological development, what is your insight for the contribution of textile industry in Indian export? Can change in manufacturing system boost the growth? Would like to take it? Maybe Reliance, so they have
Reliance is in everything, and I don't know where will I'll have to answer oil and gas and hydrocarbons. So No, but I think, yeah, the question though is pertaining to textile. There is a scope in every aspect of vertical that we are talking about, right from agriculture. That some very good insights that we came. You know, there are these verticals which are just waiting to be explored. And now, then we talk of textiles, then we talk of garment manufacturing. Then there are multiple allied industries which are related to textiles. So all this, and when we talk of exports, I was at Agartala, and there were some very unique shops that we visited. And while we were visiting those, and when we asked that, you know, this kind of an art that you have, and there were, I mean, it was a combination of many things, including textiles, the local textiles, local designs, and garments and all. And they said, no sir, this is the only shop that we have, and that's it. Now can technology take that to a platform which then it becomes global, and there will be purchases, there will be orders, there will be logistics that can